Oh, it's so funny. So good.
It's so good. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the stream event of the year. Here I am, Swagglehouse, joined by Ryan Automatic and Drew Como Comic Books. Fellas, we're doing the tri-stream. I feel like everything this year has led to this moment in a lot of ways. Like, this feels pretty epic. And so we had to bring, us together with a ridiculous AI created theme
You're
song.
muted, Drew. You're muted.
So shout out to everyone in the chat. Drew, how you feeling today? This is a big moment.
I feel like all of history is culminating into this moment right now. Like, the entirety of the comic hobby is led us and everyone else to this moment. And we're lucky to be here for it. So yeah. We can just video.
I mean, I honestly, I hope it goes high, but I mean, I don't think it's going to.
Well,
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. In case you guys are joining us and you don't know what the big prize book of the night is, why we're streaming, it is, of course, the illustrious giant size X-Men #1 9.9 countdown. That's happening today. We are an hour and 39 minutes away. So we will be streaming, covering the rest of the books tonight, going up for auction. And again, it's so funny. Like, it just, with everything going on this year, between Reholder, CGC 9.9 pre-screen, this book, it feels like this is a nice little midpoint through the year. It feels like the Super Bowl, this year. So it'll be interesting to see what this one goes for. And also this one too, that we got a CGC 10.0, which, Wolverine 1, Ryan has done some great videos talking about the Wolverine 1 comic book. So yeah, how do you guys feel? Any early predictions? Maybe we shouldn't get into predictions yet, but this is kind of where we're at. This is a big moment.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I always think like big sales are always good just because they get people talking and all that kind of thing. I know there are a lot of people that want this thing to just crash so that it maybe puts an end to the 9.9 stuff. I mean, it is already at a record, but
yeah,
I think a lot of us were thinking a number was going to be a lot higher than this. So it feels pretty low at the moment.
Yeah. What do you think, Drew? 92,000 at the moment.
I think it'll be interesting to see what happens, when we're in the moment. I think there's a lot of people, especially guys who are buying at this level of books, they're not the guys who are going to run out there and throw all their money down days and weeks in advance. They're going to be the guys with, the money sitting in their pocket tonight, right now, just like we are, watching everything go. And I think Comic Connect did a good job by strategically placing all the GS1s in the back of the auction. So all that money is going to sit in the room all night, because I would have expected these books to go with the G's. What would that have been? Wednesday night, probably. But here we are, Friday night, going into the weekend, into the month. What better, way to spend your evening than to drop 6 figures on a comic book?
Well, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, like Ryan said, the record price was $72,000 back in June of 2021 for a 9.8. So still impressive that, put a number on a book and there you go. We just created $20,000. So
this one goes to 11.
Either way, it feels like whoever is selling this book definitely got a nice little payday, at the end of the night. But, it's funny because we had the heritage auctions and they had their sales. Of course, we all talked about, the Detective Comics 27 taking a pretty massive haircut. And so the conversation has sort of been like, yeah, is this book going to go low? What was the last auction, the heritage one, kind of a sign of where we're at with the mega grails? Because, while the, say, session 2 type of books, those $10,000, $15,000 books have all done fairly well, depending on where you're looking. It's like these massive 6-figure books are it's tough to find a buyer for these, I feel like.
Yeah, that is kind of that's the split it largely seemed to be at Heritage. I mean, there were a couple big ones, and we know the art did really, really well. But on the comic side, like the biggest of the big books seemed to underperform. Now, in this auction, there was it was a mix. I mean, I don't know if you've got it up there, but like the Tech 31, that one felt low to me. Yeah, that one at 175. I was thinking over 200. It's just it doesn't ever come up for sale in this grade, this type of grade, and it's a nice looking book. It's one of the most desired Batman books out there, and it just didn't feel like as big a number as I was expecting.
Right. Yeah, and that's there's actually two of them. This one and this one, the restore copy, and this also, like you said, off stage, backstage. This was also fairly low relative.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen. I mean, now granted, restoreds can be weird, but I mean, we've seen much lower grade restoreds go for like mid 30s, and none of them could get back to a blue label. So they're all like they're stuck in that restored label, or at best maybe conserved. And so you would think this one would have pushed up maybe into the 50s or even 60s, but not to be.
Yeah. It's interesting with this one. There was a point when earlier in the year when this book first came out, or was the first kind of announced, pre-feelers to me were that this one was maybe going to go around the $400,000-$500,000 price point. Now at 92, I'm certainly less convinced that it's going to get all the way up there. But I don't know. Do you guys want to give it any early predictions, or anyone in the chat want to throw in their early predictions? Like, what are you guys kind of feeling right now for this?
Like when I first saw it, I think my estimate was somewhere around like 250, somewhere in that range. And then, but I was thinking like it might hit 500,000. Like I felt like that was a very real possibility given what I would expect, like Hulk 181 with the single highest graded, what that one would probably go for.
Right.
So that's why like and that's why it feels low, but we have seen, you will see when we get within about 3 minutes, like what it's really going to do, because we did see that More Fun 31 yesterday. I posted about on Instagram. That thing was sitting at like 19,000, maybe 20 when the live, or not the live, because this is always live, but when it got down to about 3 minutes, it went for 105,000. I mean, and if people aren't familiar with that book, it's the first ever printed like Superman in a comic. It's like an ad for Action One, and I mean its prior record in grade was 13 years ago for under 10 grand, and so it went up over 10x, like 11x in that period of time. It was a Mile High copy. The other one, I mean, it's the same book, and it definitely had a couple people that had a lot of money that both wanted it, and they just kept bidding it up.
Yeah. What do you think, Drew? Do you have any numbers, predictions you want to throw on this one?
I'm kind of like you guys. I figured, $250,000 would be the basement that this thing would go to, for. And at this point, I'm thinking it's going to struggle to get there. Like, I don't think we're going to see this one pull a More Fun on us. It's definitely not going to go up that much, but I think it could still double, but I'm skeptical if it'll hit 200 at this point. And maybe everybody's keeping their powder dry, and they're just laughing at us, as we're throwing all this out here. But I think this thing, as it sits right now, an hour and a half out, I think or however long it is, it seems like it's going to come up short of our initial expectations.
Important to point out that Comic Connect's auction, in case people don't know, is it does the 3-minute timer reset. So unlike say eBay, where you jam your bid in at the last second, or Heritage, which is kind of your traditional auctioneer style, going once, going twice type of auction. This one, when you put a bid in, it resets to 3 minutes. So it could be a real long, drawn out, like
it's really frustrating.
Yeah. So it could work for the book. What it does is it gives people a long time to think about it. As far as like, gosh, should I put in another bid? But at the same time, here we are Friday night. It's at the end of the auction. Like, are you're a multimillionaire who likes collecting comic books. Do you really want to waste your time, like waiting for this book to be bid on, like for 2 hours? Like, probably not.
I mean, I'll say that the funny thing with that more fun is whoever was doing the back and forth bidding, they were doing the wait till 2 seconds and bid, and then it goes back up to 3 minutes, and it was just, oh god, it's just
maximum
like
troll. Yeah, maximum troll. Well, we'll check back in on this book. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to talk about, and we'll have to pay mind to when we actually get there. I'm sure there'll be lots of stories. But before we move on to recapping some of the other books, there's also this one right here, the Wolverine 1 10-0. I don't know when the last 10-0 has gone up for sale. There's a couple other, but this one is new. This is a newly created 10-0, as we've kind of uncovered in various videos and YouTube channels and stuff.
I think it was quite a few years ago.
Has there been one in the, we'll call it like post 2020 like era?
Let's see here.
I mean, look.
Oh, definitely. I'm almost certain not. I think it was much longer than that.
So this one,
the last sale was 2010, so it's 14 years ago.
So and the record price for that, I mean, certainly this is already higher than what
it was. 14,000.
Yeah. Okay. So we're at 22,000 now.
Oh, no, actually, it had a higher sale in 2009, 15,535. But it is still a record. So
very interesting. So 15,000, and probably at that time, what's funny about books like this is like, maybe at that time 15,000, that was the only one, and then another one came on the census, and then someone was like, "Well, I'm going to pay 14." But I think this is the 5th copy as a 10-0.
I think it's the 4th.
Okay, 4th copy as a 10-0. And there's a handful of 9.9s as well that have gone up for sale. But man, that's a lot of money to be putting in a 10-0 on a book. That is sure to have more copies find themselves to the census at some point in the future. Don't you guys think?
I mean, especially I just always have my fear of damage inside the case. It shifts a little bit, and then it's not the 10. And I feel like if you're buying this type of book, you have to realize that fear. Like, that is something that's out there, and it is a very real thing that could happen.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. You're one oops away from just your money being gone.
And it could be, and it might not be even like your fault. It's like in the mail and somebody tosses the box or whatever. I mean, we all we all carry our, when we're shipping boxes, we carry them carefully to the post office, but like then you see people scan it and they immediately just throw it on the ground.
Yep. Awesome.
you're just like, and that's when them seeing you in front of them.
Yeah.
So what's happening outside of that? I mean, you got to expect that thing has the chance to shift.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's a nice copy and all, but yeah, it's just, you have to be a very specific type of buyer. I think that wants this book. At the end of the day, you're getting it for the number right here, the status symbol of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess once it's in the case, it's in the case, right?
I mean, there's a couple reasons. Like, one would just be, you want to have the best thing, and everybody wants to have the best, like, not everyone, but a lot of people just want to have the best thing. The other one is, if you got to always consider like registry set collectors. And so with registry sets, all these things, they give you points. And then, I don't know which sets are out there. I don't know if there's a Wolverine limited 1 through 4, or there's some specific Wolverine set, or whatever. And if you've got a 10, I bet that gives you a lot of points. So that kind of thing can also play a role.
Yeah. Well,
that's true.
We're at 44 minutes on this one. So this one will be come up first in our conversation. It'll be interesting to see where we're at with this one. Of course,
you see the comment from Eric Chang. He said, "I've reset time on my own bids. I have accidentally done that too, because I thought I could just add money on, like, to get on top, and it just. But when you do that, it even resets it to 3, and I was like, no, a
bid is a bid is a bid, huh?
So it doesn't care who's sending it in; it resets your time.
Oh yeah. Well, we have these books going by. I don't know if there's any ones in particular you guys want to talk or highlight about, but we could, do a recap.
TMNT one there, Drew. I don't know
here's some
that 9.0 signature series. It's really not. I have a hard time really giving a lot of extra value to Eastman signed copy, like signature series copies from Eastman. I mean, because God love him, he definitely helped give us our childhood, TMNT fans like me, but the dude is out there. He hustles every year. He has his comic shows that he goes to, and he will sign anything and everything. So I think we're nearing that tipping point where blue labels are going to be harder to find than the signature series.
It's the Todd McFarlane factor.
Yeah, I know
ASM.
McFarlane said that.
Exactly. So me personally, you guys know I don't like people drawing on my books, signing my books, anything like that. So it doesn't do much for me. But for a 9.0, again, not giving a lot of extra value for the signature series, I think that was a pretty decent sale. About a year ago, I think that's what a 9.2 blue was going for, is about 18.5. So it's kind of right there in the neighborhood. And really, once you get above 9, you're into very kind of limited stock. There's not a lot on the census up there. Just that black cover is pretty unforgiving. I was actually talking about my second print with my presser today, just for some stuff that was on there. But it's, I'm happy to see it kind of at least maintaining, because after the beating the 9.8 took, was it last week? It's nice to see the lower 9s at least holding their ground and not getting beat back like it did.
And I also feel like the 9.8s are generally going to take longer to correct because they just don't sell as often. So
yes.
Right. Would you, if you had the opportunity to get Peter Laird's signature on your book, would you do it?
Well, like my actual issue 1, no, but my hardcover I've got over here that Eastman sketches in all the time, absolutely.
Wow, he wouldn't even do it on his own copy. The opportunity, the rare Laird opportunity.
I'm a man of principle.
You are dedicated. You are dedicated, sir.
For sure.
Well, we have a few books here we can check in. Let's kind of talk maybe about some of the signature ones. Of course, guys, this was a multi-day event. This is just a Friday session, but the auction has been going on for multiple days. And the way that Comic Connect does it is they don't really kind of group the top tier books in one session. They do it alphabetically. So, earlier in the week, we had Action Comics #1 restored 5.5 copy sell for $379,579. Now, when I see this, I think about the 0.5 blue label that's sold that was called the the stain copy, the underwear streak copy. That one sold for more, 400,000, whatever. And so maybe this is the conversation here is like a little bit of a this or that. Would you rather have a 0.5 blue label for that price, or would you rather have a extensive B5 purple label here?
For Action 1, I'd rather have the 0.5 for Action 1. They're so rare in a blue label that I would take that. I think this one was cleaned, wasn't it? Which I think in theory you can't undo.
Clean, you can't go back from, I guess.
Tear seals.
And it's a 5. So you never know, like just looking at, you don't know how much of that stuff is real. That's on that book.
It's a dumb question. What is considered clean?
So that means it has to be some type of either chemical cleaning, or if they think you use like the deionized water, the water,
usually some sort of solvent.
Yeah.
Right. You can't. It's that noticeable. You can't sneak it by.
I mean, sometimes they can. I mean, that's how you get those, that new cleaning method or whatever. Like sometimes it gets by, but it depends when this was done. For all we know, this book was restored 15 years ago, something like that. And so at that point, I think you're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
I don't know what methods they use to detect it. I have heard that like a lot of times with it, you'll lose a lot of like the cover gloss. So there's just some things that you'll see on the book that just don't look right, that make it look like it's clean. But I have to think like, that there's maybe something they actually use to detect certain chemicals on the books.
What I've heard in just conversations with people about it is it's a touch thing. Like it just doesn't feel right once that stuff dries or whatever. And again, I'm sure it's like anything, different graders or restoration detectors have their own way. I'm sure it's like anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll say I had commented on this with the Heritage auction, the restored books were, and this isn't like a bad sale for a restored book. I mean, looking at other restored copies that have sold, they don't happen all the time, but like a 6.5A2 went for 300 in 2021. And
Right.
so this is, it's around the same grade. It's more restoration, went for more.
Yeah.
But the restored books on Heritage did exceptionally well. Like a lot of them beat, like where you had the Cap 1, the 5.0 Universal, I felt did poorly. And then the 5.0 restored, which looked like it had either had a lot of sun fading or something, just killed it. Or it was a 5.0 conserved, but same difference, but killed it. And so the restored books were doing well there.
People love to dream.
They like to point out that Todd McFarlane, he collects the restored books.
Yeah. Well, that's funny. I have a good thought about that. I feel like, if you're someone like a Todd McFarlane, you just want it, and he knows he's never going to sell it or whatever. Like, yeah, you can just buy a Purple Label. Like, you don't care about resale value at all. Like, you just one that you want. It kind of makes sense to get that.
You're making all your money off of home run balls anyway, so who cares?
True.
I still wonder if they're going to eventually phase out this Purple Label and go to something more like CBCS. Just it's that just get rid of at least the visual deterrent for it.
Yeah. I mean, shout out to Vancouver Chris. He's always thought that would be the case, that it was all slowly inching it to getting rid of this thing. And I mean, there's I can see it. It's definitely has become like a scarlet letter, to a lot of people. So
the plod, man, the Purple Label of doom or death.
Purple Label doom. Well, $379, like you said, not a bad sale. I mean, still a lot of money. Superman doing really well. I'll say this Superman did really well. We're getting a lot of James Gunn set photos. I sold a Superman book on eBay today. I feel like maybe people are, all about the Superman right now. What do you guys think about this one? Superman 1, 2.0, 196, 905.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's down from its last sale, but I also feel like that last sale was high, and so I don't really have I don't feel like it's some big correction or anything. So its last sale was 260 and it was this year. I mean, it was recent, but
March
that
12th,
that felt exceptionally high to me. And so
I
don't really have an issue with that.
This got the blue label gold thing where it's got, glue and a piece out of page 1, but still got the blue kind of thing. So maybe got the little friendly golden age bump there.
And I mean, there are people that don't like the notes. I mean, like I've got a couple books that have those types of notes, like it's either small amount of dried glue or piece out or whatever. And it's like, I don't care, but there are definitely, you lose some bidders when you have that.
Yeah.
And just looking at the sales history, a 2.0 hadn't sold for 4.5 years until that last one went. And even this month we had a 1.5 that sold for 180. So this one still feels low. Somebody's going to drop 180 on a 1.5. I would expect a little more than this out of the 2.0, but it's not over yet. So
yeah, I mean, 1.5, 180, 2.0 with some glue on it. Kind of seems like right.
Wait, is the Superman sold or is it still going?
No, it sold.
No, it sold 196.
Okay. Yeah, so it sold for 196.
Okay. Yeah. 196. So
yeah, I think a respectable price, and kind of like what we were talking about, Ryan. Last one was 219, but it's all kind of within at that kind of price point. We're talking a few bids.
Yeah. I mean that is the other thing. It's like you're probably at like 10,000 bid, point like
increments. Yeah.
Increments at that point.
Yeah,
it probably is actually like 2 bids. Essentially.
Yeah. That next click is pretty painful. I'm just kind of looking around. It's like a 3.0 sold in November for 300,000. So, you got to feel like that guy did okay on that buy. I think the buyer did well. The seller may not be particularly happy, but I think the buyer did fairly decent. All things considered.
Can I just point something out to you guys? Okay.
Sure.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 copies in 2024? That doesn't that seem like a lot? Like we always joke about these books, like the Superman one, the Batman ones. It's like, is it just dealers selling to dealers here? Like what? The turnover is so crazy.
That's a comment I was going to make about the TMNT one first print as well. I mean, those things used to sell maybe a handful of times a year across all the grades, and now it's every auction has one. You know, it's might as well be an ASM one or something. You know, they're just everywhere.
Well, and we've talked about that. We're wondering how it's where it's like almost every one of these big signature auctions, whether it's Comic Connect or Comic Link or Heritage, like they always have to have a Batman one and a Superman one, and it's just like, are they do like the auction houses have a bunch that they bought over the years and they're putting them out there just to make sure they have one in the auction, or how are they convincing people to sell them each time? You know, that's what I mean. We don't have that inner view to how that all works, but
yeah,
that's definitely something I wonder about, that if it is something like some type of like them selling their own inventory just to make sure that they have certain books, so they have certain eyes on the auction, or what, or if it is actually people that own them, you know, are constantly trying to move them, which just feels less likely to me.
Yeah.
And at what point do the marquee books stop being marquee books? If you see them every time, you know, they're not special. People go in and they look for, you know, like the Bobby Blue Chamber of Chills and stuff like that. It's just eventually, it's just everybody's going to get tired of them because they see them every single time.
Like, I mean, that's like what happened to me with Batman 1. I mean, we joke about it all the time now because it's like, I mean, like Heritage, they had 3 of them. I mean, 2 were restored, 1's universal, but still, like, it's the type of book you feel like you should only see a couple times a year, but instead we're seeing it like 10, 15, 20 times. And it just doesn't, you're right, it doesn't feel special at that point.
Yeah. Turnover of these books seems high. Maybe we're biased because obviously we pay so close attention to this stuff, but I do believe there's probably some element of auction houses owning stuff, sitting on it, you know, selling their own copies, because I mean, it just makes sense. I mean, tinfoil hat or no tinfoil hat, it's like the Heritage needs to bring Supermans to auction, so they got to figure out a way to make that happen. So whether or not that means they themselves own books that they buy, or they have relationships with dealers and they can kind of, you know, pull out those cards, you know, when they need to.
Yeah.
Checking back in here, we're at the 30-minute countdown for Wolverine 1, so that'll be interesting to talk about.
It has not gotten any more bids since.
No more bids. Giant Size X-Men #1, CGC 9.9, 1 hour and 12 minutes left, also with no bids. This one's funny because I don't think that there's been a bid on this book for days.
I actually thought it was at 95 or something, and then I was like, oh no, it's
going backwards.
Like, yeah, this is like, I don't know, like worrisome. It's everyone's. Here's the thing: whoever owns this book is playing with house money, so they're fine. And whoever gets it for this price, I guess, is going to be really happy. But man, crazy.
Yeah, because I mean, worst case, you spent 72 and you're ahead if it was that book, you know.
Yeah, right. So interesting. But we'll definitely tune in when it comes around. We talked about Detective Comics a little bit. You know, these ones going a little bit under for what we would have maybe predicted. Yeah, this one here, Detective Comics #38, First Robin. This one also a little bit of a softer sale, perhaps.
Yeah, I had it going probably 60 to 65, maybe as low as 55, and I mean, its prior record was in the 70s, but I felt like that was too high. I didn't think it was going to repeat that, but especially because this copy, to me, is superior to the, what was it, 7.0 or 7.5 that sold on Heritage this last week.
Right.
Because it had that huge eraser mark, in the upper right corner that I could not look past that. And that one went for 90.
Oh, wow.
But this one here.
Buying the grade, not the book.
How do you guys feel about these? We talked a little bit about the stickers, like the not quite pedigree.
Instant reholder.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
Collection.
Yeah.
These ones not really pulling any extra.
I don't need all that. I guess I'd rather have the sticker than some of the ugly labels, even though they're both going to result in the same result. Like I'm getting rid of the what was that Northwest pedigree that was, or collection that was just ugly. I can't remember the name, what they called the collection, but I didn't care for the logos. They slapped on those custom labels, and I don't know. I'm reholdering them either way, so I guess it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and they seem to be getting bigger too. Like the stickers they put on there keep getting bigger and bigger.
Gaudier, and yeah.
It's crazy. But, you know, I don't know. You guys see
Secret
those
Town.
James Gunn photos? I mentioned it already with the Superman ones. You guys get excited about that? How are you feeling about the movie? I mean, aren't we getting this duo? We're going to get the duo in James Gunn's universe.
I know nothing about that
A
movie.
version, because it's supposed to be Damien, right? It's not actually going to be Dick.
Yeah, right. It's not Dick Grayson, but it's The Brave and the Bold. I think it's the name of it, and they're doing that kind of pairing.
I'm pretty jaded when it comes to comic book movies and such right now, so they're gonna have to rekindle my affection for the medium, because I've been burnt too many times. So we'll see what happens. Yeah.
All right. Next, Detective Comics going down the line. Detective Comics 168, first Red Hood, 9.0 copy with the QES sticker.
Yeah, I mean, Drew and I were talking about that one as it was selling. I felt like that was a pretty solid sale. I thought it was solid when it was at like 70, and then it got up above that. So
$80,000.
You know,
what is it about this book, man? This is one that everybody loves. This one.
It's a great cover. It just is.
It is. And people who love the Joker flocked to that thing when they got outpriced with Bat One. So, you know, you may not get the first appearance, but at least you can get the background story.
Right.
I remember the first time I saw one of these at a convention, I was just like, why the hell is that book so much? This was probably 10 years ago or so, before I really did much investigating and learning about Golden Age detectives beyond just, you know, the early stuff and first appearances. And it's I kept hoping maybe it would let up at some point, but it just keeps chugging away. Hope to have one some point in time, but definitely not going to go after a 9.0 like that.
Yeah, this is one of those books that, you know, I think it's great. I think it's cool and all, but, you know, there's so much out there and it's so expensive that it's pretty low on my want list. Not out of like shade to the book, just other priorities.
Because you're looking, it's pretty close to 10 grand in just about any shape, isn't it?
Yeah. 3.5 here is going to be 12, you know. This 3.5.
Yeah, it's one of those books that there's a fair amount of compression near the
lower
bottom.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. The 7.5, 36. So, you know, once you got up to the 9.0, it's 3 copies higher. So kind of makes sense that, you know, at that price point, you know, people are dueling it out for that one.
Yeah, I mean, the single highest went huge. I mean,
is it Promise? Or was it just a
no, because mine was the Promise collection, which is a 1.8.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's a very, very cool book. I would definitely, you know, if I was out there, I would probably just, you know, buy, you know, whichever copy was sitting on eBay. I would just buy.
Yeah, that's mine.
I know. I was trying to promote it. I was trying to hook you up.
Oh man.
All right, this one was interesting. All-Star Comics number 8, first appearance of Wonder Woman, the 5.5 70,000. This book is back. Wonder Woman is back, guys. Wonder Woman is back. Been beat up, been disrespected. People were just not bidding on this book. You know, ever since we got the Shazam Black Adam, I feel like that was the end of it. And I don't know, last couple sales, pretty good once again.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've had 3 sales now in the last like 2 weeks. We had the 1.5 or 1.0 go for 15. We had the 6.0 go for 90, and then now this 5.5 go for 70. So they've all been pretty solid sales.
Yeah. It's
You guys
just
like
one
the
of
six-
those.
The 6.0 definitely looks better
Yeah,
than this 5.5. Like
look at how
those
nice.
colors are incredible on that
Yeah.
6.0.
That one
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah,
And
I
there's a
mean,
question about reholdering in the chat. It doesn't for high dollar books, it's just 50. It's once you're over $1,000, it's 50. It
Yep.
doesn't cost you a percentage or anything like that. Now you risk mailing it and all that. That's part of it, but it's not that
Right.
expensive to reholder a high dollar
Mhm.
book.
absolutely.
You do, the risk is that because of all the reholder stuff, they're taking a close look now. So
For sure.
Yep.
maybe you lose something on the grade.
Mhm.
I did actually. Yeah, Cosmic Tracker has one. When you reholder, isn't there a chance the grade goes down? There is.
Absolutely.
What's funny is there was always a chance, but I think that they got way too laxed in their service.
Yeah.
And I will say for sure that I had to get a book reholdered at C2E2, and I definitely, and it's the third time I've ever had to do the reholder process, and that third time it was like, oh yeah, big bold letters, prompted when you're filling out the form, like, just so you know, this book could be downgraded. And so it seemed like they were, they took a couple steps to make it more apparent that could happen.
Yeah, I was nervous because I sent in my D copy Tech 58 at C2E2 for reholdering, and one of the staples is a little loose. I'm like, this is one slip up on somebody's part to getting hit. So I feel that I was definitely nervous about the reholder aspect there, but just to take it back to All-Star 8, when it comes down to it, there are few books that are bigger than this as far as significance goes. So it's going to go up, it's going to go down, but I think eventually, it'll take its licks and it's going to come back around. And there's still people that want that book. And I mean, truthfully, there's still not that many of them out there. So you got another generation that's really been introduced to Wonder Woman, and they probably don't have this kind of money, but they help build the demand, and will keep a book like this relevant for a long time.
For sure. Do you feel like, would you rather have this book? I can ask this to chat too. Would you rather have this book or an equivalent value / grade price thing for a Batman 1 or a Superman 1?
Me personally, I'd go Bat 1, but that's just because Batman villains first appearances are one of those things that I collect, so it fits more naturally into my collection. It's not a knock on All-Star 8 or anything like that. It's incredibly significant in the hobby, but personally, I'm going to go Bat 1 on that, and I got a feeling probably a lot of people will go that same direction.
Yeah.
And that's
couple
looking like
people
what the chat's
sure.
saying.
Yeah, I think that this is, I bring that up because this one is always a little bit of an issue because of the, or this is why this one always kind of falls a little bit behind, because you have those other options, even though it's our first appearance. It's like there's still levels to the tiers of characters.
I mean, and even I wouldn't be swayed just by a Bat 1. I mean, you're talking a pretty good chunk of change. So, Detective 31 would be on the board at that point, even 38. So there's a lot of really good stuff you can buy for $70K.
Yeah.
That's
why when you get near that $100,000 mark, there's just, I think that's why, like, when people wonder why certain books don't keep going up, it's like, because you've got all these things to compete with.
Yeah. Shout out to Neo Cards and Comics, who says, do on-site grading for reholdering. That works great.
Oh, man.
Good luck to you, sir, with your reholder.
No drama there.
Federico has a question here. Are books with the older label candidates for CPR? Well, we could talk about a lot of aspects to that. I feel like you guys have an answer for Federico on that one.
I mean, everything is a case-by-case basis, because the other way I look at older labels now is that there have been however many years of people having seen it, so it's like, this got past all these people. Is it still a candidate? And it's just, you have to be able to recognize it. You cannot just crack out an old label and think you're going to get a better grade. I've definitely seen older labels where I'm like, this thing's never coming out of that case. You know?
Yeah.
Yep. I agree. It's all about the book. Unless you're finding a book or a slab collection that's been locked away for 10 years, probably minimum, chances are if there was something there that could be significantly upgraded, it already would have been CPR'd at that point.
Yeah,
Not
I think
always, but
yeah.
mostly.
Yeah, every once in a while, someone posts like something where they're like, "Oh, I cracked this one out," and they got like 3 grades, and I'm like, "Where did you find that?" Like, it's always like a Hulk 181 or something. And I'm like, "How did that make it this far?"
I mean,
Yeah.
I'll say I've got an ASM 129 that was dropped in a corner, and somehow miraculously it didn't break the color, but it's got this crunched corner, and it's going to go from an 8.0. I bet you it won't have any problem hitting a 9.2 when I actually send it to my presser to have him work on it. But you know, I'm not wanting to give CGC that much money right now.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think that
slip it in the vintage tier, right?
There you go.
Probably the rumor of it started, I think, when because you know the old label came at a time before there was pressing and cleaning. So like the theory has always been that, oh, the ones that were slabbed back then never got pressed and cleaned, therefore, you know, you have a better chance to get them bumped up in grade. And so that's kind of probably where it starts and where the theory is behind it. But like the guy said, you know, the ones that have been needing to be cracked out have already been cracked out. And I kind of just think it's a seller's little wink, wink. You know, that why
it's an old label
persisted. Yeah, because like, hey, it's an old label. You never know. You know,
so you have a chance, but I didn't do it for some reason.
Yeah,
I just gotta say something, you guys. Like, you're making me feel old over here because you keep calling this the old label. No, this is the first version of the new label. Like, I remember the original labels that were the white background with the blue stripe. Like, that's the old label to me. And you guys,
that's still went back to 2003, though. You know, like they've been using that style for a long time.
I can't help that you youngins just got in the game.
Yeah. Anything that happened pre 2018 didn't exist to me.
That's right. Okay. There were no
including all of your stories about how it's like, well, I remember when I bought my X-Men one for $10 on eBay. Like,
400.
Good for 400.
You. Take me back.
Here we are, 16 minutes away.
Oh, dang.
16-minute countdown. Still no bids. Guys in the chat, gals in the chat. I'm actually curious. Is anyone in the chat watching right now actually a player on this book or the Giant Size X-Men one? I am curious. You can.
Are they going to tell us? You know, would they be willing to tell us?
I don't know if they would be. I don't know if they would be. We'll make sure that nobody bids. But it's crazy. I mean, I feel like 22,000. Maybe it's this is probably going to be close to where it finishes. I mean, it might get a couple more bids, but we'll see. Do you think that the people buying this, it's actually like the discussion of 9.9 pre-screens and, you know, the dangers and stuff? Do you think that has actually affected those people that were in it for this book?
I mean, I know there are some people that are looking to reduce theirs, you know. And so there are. It has had an impact. I think less of one on the much older stuff, like Silver Age. You're not like coming into a horde of 9.9s or 10s, but
new old stock. Yeah,
this stuff, I think your chances are much higher.
Yeah,
the copper is primed for that type.
Yeah, copper is so risky in that sense.
I'm just sitting over here feeling bad for the person who paid $23,500 for a 9.9 last year.
Yeah. They could have had a 10.0, which
because it's sold as low as 7 now, right? Wasn't there like that might have been on Comic Link? I don't know. So in GPA.
I agree with you. I feel so bad for them because, like, I mean, look at this book and look at theirs. Like, isn't it so clear how much better this copy is than
Absolutely.
their book?
I mean, from across the room, you can tell which one.
It just is so apparent, you know.
Oh man, I mean, ultimately that's the problem with wanting to have the best. Sooner or later, or wanting to be the best or wanting to have the best, sooner or later somebody's going to come around the block and they're going to be better than you, and it's going to hurt, whether that's financially or you get your butt whooped or whatever. Sooner or later there's going to be a better copy, except for that one person. And it's like you talk about being the person that gets that peak sale. Only one person gets to be that person, and 99.99% of the time, it ain't any of us.
Yep.
Yeah, very true. Money Mastery Hub says, didn't the president of CGC confirm the 9.9 was just a rumor and not on their radar to actually implement? Yeah, that is actually true, that it is just a rumor, but it is on their radar. So it's both half true and half wrong. And it is funny that the 9.9 pre-screen took on the craziness that it did, because it was just thrown out as like a hypothetical. It wasn't actually a thing. And I was surprised that there were people who were surprised that when they went to submit books at CGC, they were like, hey, where's the 9.9 pre-screen? Like,
Swagglehus told me I could submit a 9.9.
Yeah, I was like, wait, I thought I thought everyone knew that it was just a discussion, but it is funny.
I mean, granted that's true, but the other side of it is, it does seem like people that are doing large single book submissions are the ones that are getting 9.9s and 10s.
Right.
And so now it's not like it's all the time. It's no guarantee, none of that kind of thing. But that seems to improve your odds. I mean, like the one I did the video about last week about the person that got it messaged me on Instagram, and he sent me the picture of it and everything. It wasn't an auction house. It was the Spider-Man #1, the silver. And he sent in 11 of them and got, what was it, 5 9.9s and a 10, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, out of 11. Like that's crazy. I mean, that's a book that has a lot of 9.9s. It's like 130, but still, like that was one person sending in one stack, and they added like 4% to the census of 9.9s. And I don't know what their plan is to do with them, but I would assume you probably want to sell most of them. Maybe you keep the 10 or something, and you just sell the rest. I don't know.
They're going to turn all that into Turok 1s, and they're going to get like 30 10-0 Turok 1s and buy a private island. That's the master plan.
Oh, man. 11 minutes left. No one's bidding. We're getting close to that moment. Yeah. We're getting close.
Is everybody at the lake, or what's happening? Aren't people supposed to be bidding on stuff?
Well, all the money went to this one here, Adventure.
I mean, they've all gone on 4th of July. Like that could be the risk here. Like they're all left for 4th of July break. They're
out buying fireworks and beers.
That is true. That is true. That was a joke with the Heritage one. It was like, all the rich people are on vacation right now. They're not watching the auction.
What grade is this one? I can't, because with the old label, it's like,
finally an old label. Let's talk about it.
This is a 5.0 Adventure Comics 40 first Sandman. I know Drew likes this one.
Yeah,
very cool.
That is such a classic Golden Age cover.
Yeah,
I think it's the first Sandman cover, right?
Oh yeah, you're right. It's not the first.
It's that World's Fair or whatever.
Yeah, 53,155. I didn't prep on this one, so I have no.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. It is the record. The prior record was, and it was not the same book because it was a different. It was not an old label. In January, a 5.0 sold for 49,200. So 53 is the record. A 7.0, the one that sold on Heritage this last weekend, went for 90, which was a pretty serious sale for that book. But yeah, I mean, you can't say that was a weak sale. I mean, it's a record. It beat the sale from 6 months ago. So
yeah,
as like non-key or non like big three DC books go, this one's got to be towards the top of the list of the conversation as far as like movers and shakers for Golden Age issues. That, I mean, most people, I like the character and I couldn't tell you his name, other than Sandman, but it's just one of those covers that speaks to people. It's just got great, like noir vibes, just pulpy feel. It's awesome. You see that cover and you want to read that book.
I definitely love it for sure, for all those reasons. But yeah, I think it's interesting because this is the type of book where you're getting into like the people who really want it. And so not that it's say more expensive than Batman 1 or whatever, but like at the same time, it's just you're getting a really enfranchised collector, who's kind of competing for that.
Yeah, a newer collector is not buying this book. I don't think you're not going to recognize it. You're not going to you'll probably just be like, why is that selling for so much?
Right.
I mean, and this is one of those books that has seemingly avoided one of the issues we've been talking about. It's still fairly few and far between on sales. It's not the one or the issue you're going to see every single auction. So it still does kind of have that air of maybe rarity, scarcity, however you want to put it. You're not going to tune into every single auction and have your chance at one, let alone a pick of 3 to 5 copies. So I think that helps this book as well.
For sure. I think that goes back to that. Yeah. Like the people who are buying this one are buying it to hold it versus like if the people who are buying the Batman ones are maybe dealers looking to kind of flip them.
Right. And that's also the breakdown between a 1939 issue like this and a 1940 issue like Batman 1.
True.
I mean, just that couple years, that's a big difference.
I see the comment there. The New York World's Fair 1939 is like technically the first appearance, but it's
World's Fair.
Yeah, it's the first story appearance, I guess, is the difference.
Yeah.
This is the Hulk 181 of
this is the one everybody
Sandman.
It's the one that people actually want to be true.
Now, granted, he is on the cover of the World's Fair one, but he's just like one of those little, like,
he's about this big.
Yes.
I think he is. Pretty sure he is.
Pretty sure. 8 minutes, 6 minutes.
I think there was one of those in this auction.
The World's Fair.
Yeah, I think there was like a 2.5 or 3.0 or something like that. Yeah, there was a 2.5 went for 2,400.
It's already sold.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's because it's under New York.
Yep.
Right. Well, we still have 6 minutes here. Can kind of move on to some of the other ones I had pulled out. Is that the last one? Yeah. And then this last little one that I thought was kind of a cool one to talk about. Marvel Mystery Comics #4, first Submariner cover. QES sticker 3.5, 47,000.
Yeah, almost tied its last sale. Last sale was 48. So I think like we say, like didn't go up, but didn't lose anything really, other than your selling fees, I guess.
Yeah, but a cool, great Schomburg cover. Got a lot of the elements here. You got the first Nazi flag. You got Namor on it. You got the bondage here. Good stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of my consolation prize because I don't figure I'll ever be able to get a 1. And with prices like this, maybe I'll never be able to get a 2. But I like the U-boat cover. Just so many cool elements that would just go on to become staples of the golden age. Alrighty, right there with that one. So,
I mean, it's one I knew was expensive, but I did not like, it didn't register with me that it was that high, that it was like a 10,000 a point. Book.
Yeah. I kind of feel like this is a book that Marvel Publishing has done a good job recognizing, like I've seen this cover on Marvel trading cards, you know what I mean? Like, or I've seen them sort of reutilize this stuff, which frankly, they used to do a much better job, I think in the 90s, like kind of acknowledging key issues of their past. Current publishing doesn't do a great job, but there was a time when they wore this as a famous kind of image, which I think is it's kind of a shame that they don't still do that.
Well, that I remember as a kid, that was one of the allures of getting the Marvel cards was, I remember especially like some of the early Spider-Man sets, it would have their first appearance issue cover on the back. And hell, that's how I learned how, or what most of these books even looked like, was through collecting cards like that. So I mean, I remember one of the first things I did when we got dial-up internet in the mid 90s was go online and look at comic book cover galleries just so I could learn what some of these things look like. So it's probably a pretty foreign concept to a lot of people who've gotten into the hobby in the last 5 to 10 years.
I know. Don't get me started on what they're doing wrong in current Marvel publishing. But back to this book, we got a bid.
Hey,
we're up to $23,000.
They snuck it in before the
so they want to get that 3-minute bid in.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Yeah, that's the strategy, the bidding strategy here. This is where the mind games come in.
I'll say one thing I did notice about this auction versus their last one was that this auction is a lot. I'm pretty sure it's a lot smaller, because I watched a lot of that last auction and I felt like I was watching until midnight to 1 a.m. most nights. This one, they like last night, I think it ended at like 9:30. So I think this auction is a lot smaller than the prior.
Well, and remember Bobby Blue, hell, we were still on at like 1 o'clock Eastern, weren't we, Ryan?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, and that was like August, I think.
Mm-hmm.
that was almost a year ago at this point.
Yeah.
And we still got those books coming through.
But yeah, I've actually appreciated that this is a little smaller, just because I do not enjoy like if there's something I'm interested in, like having to I'll set my alarm for like 12:15 and I'm like, all right, I gotta check Comic Connect.
Oh.
But yeah, like a couple hours, that's fine. It's not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah. Well, 1 minute and 50 seconds left. To reiterate, if a bid does come in, the clock will reset to 3 minutes. Oh, and speaking of the devil, we got one.
That was not me. I saw the chat.
That was Ryan.
A bid of 24. Yeah. That is
Ryan got all quiet all of a sudden. He's sneakily.
Oh, we bounced right back. We're up to 25.
Oh, now we know that we got 2 people involved.
Mm-hmm.
That means we got 2
got
people.
us a little fight going on.
And I'm definitely I am not one of them.
Well, you know what's funny is like you can almost communicate with the person you're bidding against here, right? Where it's like someone came in and said, "Hey, I see you bidding, but just so you know, I'm here too."
Yep.
You know, it's like, do you want to ride this out?
Oh God, now I'm wondering if they're gonna just write it down to 3 seconds
and click it.
But hey, I mean, Mickey, you had that computer shutdown situation. Like, it's a risky game to play.
Yeah,
it is risky, and that's the thing. Like, I did wait for the last couple seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Had I bid earlier, I could have maybe reset my computer and got back up and running and all that.
I would totally sit and listen to a speech or read a paper about someone who's gone in and done research about the psychology of bidding strategy. You know, do you clap back instantly? Do you wait till it winds down and then go after it? You know, just
I'm a bid back instantly guy. Like I bid back instantly unless I'm actively thinking about it. Like sometimes I really don't know if I want to put in a bid, and I'll just I'll keep thinking, and usually I'll like trick myself into bidding again by the end. But normally like with Heritage, you can tell when it's like one of the preset bids where it's because it bids back like super fast, and I will just like if I had wanted to go higher, I will just keep clicking until it gets up to where it doesn't bid back, and as long as I'm under my price, because I'm just like I'm not sitting here waiting for the countdown for a computer to bid back at me, over and over again.
I feel like you're a little more structured than most of us. I'm a little more impulsive when I go in. It's like I have various tiers of soft stops before I just hit the brick wall.
I have one main stop, and then I have a secondary stop is where what my bidding is.
Yeah.
Well, we got 2 more bids, 2 different strategies. There was one person who waited for right around now, 1 minute and 30. They bid, went up to 26. And then the other person hit him again with the instant bid back.
Yep.
It went to 27. So feels like this person is up now. They're maybe going to do the let it go below 1 minute, maybe.
Maybe. I mean, I'm sorry to report that they won't have the 9.8 to pick up as a consolation prize because it just sold for $550. So they're all in on the 10 at this point.
I mean, it gives you it gives you the multiple there. I mean, it's 50x right now for the 10.
Yep.
If you put the link in the chat for that 9.8, we can compare the visual quality of these books.
I mean,
really
clearly
how much more pristine the 10 is.
Clearly the 9.8, is the lesser book. Dropping that now for you. There you go.
Oh, man, it's under a minute. Now seeing if they're playing the games. Oh, went 632. Okay, so it had the 15%.
All right, so we're at.
Oh yeah, I hadn't refreshed. Sorry.
30 seconds left. Here we go. Is the person going to slide in with the 3-second bid?
I mean, if people are watching, let's see the difference between them. Maybe they'll be like, "Oh yeah, this is really a lot nicer."
20 seconds, guys. 27,000. Or do we think what is steel?
There's some deep thoughts and some heavy breathing happening right now.
It feels like a steal to me. It does. It feels like a steal. Even though, I mean, for whatever you feel about 10-0s and all that stuff.
4th on the census.
Here we go. I think this is it.
Oh, yeah. Man.
Oh, 27,000.
That feels very low to me. That is not a good sign for the Giant Size X-Men 1.
Yeah, no, it is not. 27,000. There you have it, guys.
No buyer's premium.
Wolverine out for a 10 with a QES sticker. That's hilarious.
Oh man, there it is. Well, let's take a look, guys. I mean, here we have a 10-0. I mean, you can see how perfect it is. And then we have this thing that is just hurts my eyes to look at. And if you compare it, I mean,
check the back cover though. The fold isn't perfectly straight on the 9.8.
Look at that. That's terrible.
Yeah. So
just garbage.
You're right.
Just throw that in the burn pile. Don't even.
No disrespect to whoever bought this, but you just wasted $632. You should have paid $27K.
Right. Or 28, taking
for this
28.
Perfectly aligned book right there. Look at the it's not even close. This back versus that back.
Who thought here in 2024 we'd be sitting around talking about how trash all these 9.8s are? I did not have that on my bingo.
I mean, look at that. I mean, why would you even buy it?
It's striking.
Yeah. I mean,
I know that I would pay $26,000 more for my back cover to look like that.
How far are we fallen? We're sitting here analyzing a book with off-white white pages. I mean, we used to have standards.
Oh yeah, look at that. Terrible. Off-white to white. It's terrible, guys.
How did he even get it? How did he even get a 9.8? I didn't think that was possible.
We kid. What an amazing book. Congratulations to whoever it is out there that bought this incredible copy.
I guarantee you it's nicer than the copy any of us have in our collection right now.
Yes. They and 3 other people own this book now.
For now.
But it's funny. I trust this one as the best one because those 3 other people, to what you guys were discussing earlier, they've had the handling for however long they've had it now. So
that's right.
But did this one travel around to all the shows?
Oh, you're right. Maybe.
Yeah, it's not the age, it's the mileage.
Yeah.
Oh man, the X-Men are coming. They're not too far off now on my watch list.
Got a bunch of Wonder Woman.
Wait a minute. 97,000.
We
got a bid. So for the Wolverine one, we got 6 bids, right? Is that right? 5 bids
from 22.
I don't know what the bid increment is at the.
I think it was $1,000. So I think we got 5 or 6 bids. So if we're doing that same sort of math here,
it says next bid is 2,000. So either Yeah, maybe there was a 1,000 increment at one point or something, and then it's now gapped up to 2.
Yeah. So I don't know, 125 maybe for this book, 150.
I have such a hard time seeing it break 200 with where it's sitting right now.
Yeah,
and
where it is now,
I don't think it's
be
gonna have
tough.
that big. That
and
much
with how
leg.
that Wolverine 1 did, like that only went up what, $5,000?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 25% of where it was sitting, 22% of where it was sitting. But even at that, we're not even getting to an eighth of a mil.
Do you think that for how kind of infamous this book was? I mean, like I've talked about this in other videos, and we've certainly shared this. Like this 9.9 was surprisingly was a bigger story in a lot of ways than the Reholder situation. Like it felt like more people in the community cared or were kind of eye rolly about this one. I just wonder if that maybe has sort of affected like the people who were seriously considering buying this book. Are they just sort of like, yeah, I've kind of heard everyone else, and it kind of makes a lot of sense what people are saying, where it's like it's not really worth this $500K price tag.
It could be. I mean,
the
question is, are the people that would be bidding on this in that circle? Like,
yeah.
I mean, we know some are, but like, are how many? Like, are there other people who are just like not plugged into like Instagram? It's like, oh, I have $1 billion. I'm not going on Instagram talking with these guys.
I mean, Illuminati says he knows a multimillionaire who's waiting to bid. I mean, I'm sure we're going to get more bids in, but you need 2 to tango. So is there a second multimillionaire that's also willing to bid? That's the question.
Yeah.
And he says so many books at auction double at the last minute. I mean, for sure. Like at Heritage, I would say in their signature auction, most of them double, triple, quadruple once the final live bidding starts. And that's definitely possible.
Yeah.
But
Andy's drunk.
I definitely agree that it's not a perfect indication just because a book is sitting low. Doesn't mean that it's not going to get up there. But at the same time, a lot of times when a book sits low, it's also not a very good sign, Yeah.
I mean, it's like being low doesn't guarantee a low sale, but being low means it's like when you're already at a high number, it's already going to get a big number.
Yeah. You're going to get a high number.
This isn't there. Like there were in that Heritage auction, there were some books that they started kind of high, but then they just got like one bid. I mean, even that, even the tech, I think I don't know. I don't remember how many it got, but it might've only gotten 1 or 2 bids in the live. Sometimes they just, the money isn't in the room at that moment.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing is, Illuminati says he's got 1 millionaire. If it's just him, like you said, it takes 2 to tango. So it could be pretty boring, even though the money's sitting in the room, if it's just one person holding out for that.
Right. I mean, like the Batman 181 that sold, I should find that. I think I marked that one. I don't remember if I did. The 181 that sold in this auction got wrecked. Like it was a 9.8 181 that went for like 50, 45. Its last sale was 90 or 96.
Yeah. I mean, 9.6s peaked out around that a few years back.
Yeah. Well, you linked me this one. This one was kind of an interesting one. It was a good catch on this because it was a newsstand.
Yeah.
I feel like
it's newsstand going strong.
Yeah. We're still in this, this Wolverine, X-Men, a buyer's market here. And 3,053 for 9.8 newsstand. I
mean, I know they've been above that, but that's still like, that's a big number. Like a 9.8 direct, I think is going around 1,000, maybe even a little under.
I think that just comes down to that book in a 9.8 is relatively tough because that ad on the back tends to color break a lot. And then the browns down in Wolverine's shoulders are notorious for color breaks as well. I mean, we all know how tough newsstands can be just in general. So,
yeah. So I guess actually it's definitely lower than what we've seen previously. 5,000 here, 3K, 2K, 4K. $38, a lot of slash prices. This was a slash 3,300. So maybe that was actually pretty comparable to what this got,
Yeah.
you know. Maybe they paid $3K for it. So
no, I was hot. That Batman 181 98 went for 42. Even
Oh,
lower. I'll send you the.
yeah, if you got the link, I'll pull it up.
well, I mean,
And it was white pages. I mean, it's
It
pretty
wasn't
much
the
everything
book's
you
fault.
want with that book.
The
Oh,
thing,
yeah, I
like
remember
the people
seeing-
just look into 181. It's not rare. I mean, they are everywhere, and I think it just got out over its skis a little bit.
In
Yeah.
a 9.8, it's pretty rare. I think there's only 4.
Yeah. There's not a lot of them, but there's still that 9.9 out there, which kind of holds the 9.8 down.
Yeah, you would think. I mean, 42,000 for a 9.8 of a Rogues Gallery Batman villain. You know,
Well,
that would be my comparison video. That would be like, would a first appearance of Rhino in a 9.8 get 42? I feel like it would be a lot higher, you know?
And
Well,
I mean,
and that
I
book had
thought
a
it was going to
huge
go
sale.
down, but I had it going for 75. You know, like taking a over 50% cut was a big
Yeah.
drop.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
looking
mean-
up at. That last
And-
sale was what, 96?
Yeah.
Last
You know,
year.
and what's crazy too is, look, you have a $90,000 sale in November of 2020. So before things got crazy, you know, you have a $90,000 confirmation sale right there.
And that one wasn't even white pages, off white to
Right.
white.
It's
Throw
so,
it-
I mean, you might
garbage
as well
box.
throw it in a dumpster. Yeah. Worthless. But that is pretty crazy. I mean, that's quite a story right there.
Look at the and it could be filters, it could be adjustments, but the reds are a lot deeper on that off-white white copy than the white pager that sold last year. That's the thing with those reds, you know, it depends on how early in the run you are, because once they start getting lighter, it just the visual appeal drops off.
The thing is, though, I felt this one looked better than the 96 sale, though. Like I agree that other one looks you know, it's always, but this one felt like it has that fade, you know, like where like the center is red and it's got orangey on the outside, whereas this one had like at least a solid color across the book.
Man, when I look at this and I look at the bottom of this, man, I'm like, man, some of my Avengers books were definitely 9.8s. Yeah, but still, you know, even in these kind of noodling, like, oh, the color's a little more here, a little sharper there, blah, blah, blah. Like, I mean, half price. It's pretty crazy. Like, it wouldn't surprise me compared to the $96,000 sale to go back down to 40 or whatever. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's kind of in line to what a lot of the other books have done, especially when you're talking about 1966. But yeah, November 2020 sale, 90K. That's pretty crazy. Pre boom.
Yep. But there was a comment about, weren't people giving crap about the 9.9 Giant Size X-Men 1 having spine ticks? It wasn't a spine tick. It was the staple rub. Yeah, it's that bottom staple. Looks like it broke color or something, or there's some color rub on the bottom.
Yeah, we can take a look here. So as we kind of zoom in on this book, why is the scan so soft? I feel like it should be a lot sharper, but it was this right here. That's as close as I can get it. You can see a little bit of stress on the staple.
It shows up a lot more, I think, on the CGC. There was another image that I remember. It was like very clear, but then I never saw it in person. So it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know if it was, I couldn't claim if it was reflection or not.
Drew and I saw it in person. I will say that when I did see it in person, it wasn't such a eyesore. This little staple stress, it wasn't too bad, but the alignment of the book stood out to me in not a good way.
I've been sitting over here biting my tongue because I didn't want to influence anybody one way or the other. But yeah.
Oh, I mean, the alignment was perfect.
But yeah, if I were bidding on this based on the pictures, I probably would be disappointed when I got the book in my hand.
Let's at 100. There we go.
Oh, hey. There we go. The millionaires are coming out, guys. They're coming out.
Yeah. but also, don't buy the book by the number. That's all that matters.
That's all. Look, just look. It says 9.9
Yeah, right there.
And it's gold.
Yeah,
It's gold.
there's
Is
not
your
even a book
9.8
there.
gold?
Just look at all the
It is.
look at the
It's
shiny
gold.
at the top of the thing here. You don't even
Yeah.
need to look. Actually,
It
just
says
take the book
mint.
out. Just send the label.
Yeah, that's what we
I
care about.
don't even want the book.
And it's QES. We got the sticker. What else do we want?
Yeah.
That's perfect.
5K increments now, Jose says.
5K. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, next bid 105. So we're really going to start to ramp up. This is going to get to 500K easy. It is interesting with this one because here we are. It's the one of one copy. It's a 1975 book, right? So we got to think of other comparables. And this one I thought of, as far as it being kind of like a Bronze Age first appearance, where it gets really scarce at the high end. We've talked about the 9.8 sales before. That one got 250.
Well, and remember, it's not on Go. I guess it's not on Go Collect on
Yeah,
GPA. There is a
GPA.
$400,000 sale.
Yeah. So I guess a private sale or something happened that's on GPA. So 400,000. So that's kind of why it's like, there's only 5 9.8s of this book.
I think that book is one of the few that's actually really comparable to GS1 because, it's 1975, but it's 1975 square bound. Name another book that is of that age that has that working against it. That's a major thing to overcome when you're talking about super high grades. And that black frame of Marvel Spotlight 5 is kind of a comparable hindrance. And it's a couple years older, but still it's hard to find a book that lines up, that major hurdle along with just an extreme significance in the hobby to really make something truly comparable for this book.
Right. Yeah. So you would kind of think, this book should get up to 200, 250. Just like Marvel Spotlight 5 did.
Yeah, it's just a question of what people are willing to pay for, like the 9.8 as like a standard accepted grade. Like
you're right.
What are they going to allow with the 9, with that 9.9 bump?
Obviously much higher census too and all that stuff. But it'll be interesting. Who knows? 9.8s have 245. I feel like this number keeps going up every time I look.
Honestly, I think it's interesting. And we're kind of dealing with Schrodinger's cat at this point. There's so little data about these ultra high grade books and how they're going to sell, how they're going to impact the market, that the sellers or the buyers at this point are either going to make some amazing buys because nobody knows where the market sits. So they're going to get things fairly cheap, like the Wolverine one for 27, wherever this guy lands. Or once the push has continued on, those 10 or those 10s and those 9.9s continue to dilute the exclusivity in those grades, those prices may settle down and they may wind up in the long run not have making that great of an investment because they set the market and then everybody else can react to it. And, that could react better for them with higher prices or worse for them as the prices come down, as more come to market.
Yeah. See, last couple of sales for the 9.8s, you had a 24,000, 34. This one had your QES sticker on it. 22 for this one.
Look at that one. Like the colors on that copy are ridiculous.
But it's off-white to white pages, so it's kind of a crap copy.
Yeah.
It's funny.
It's like look at those books next to each other. Just scrolling down that list, like that one.
I know.
It's just so much. But it's crazy. Like, but it will sell for less because it's off white to white.
Yeah, it's insane.
But here's the thing: you crack those two books out. Which one are you going to buy raw? If you had to choose,
you're going to buy that one.
Exactly. Which 100%. Is just
what's crazy is just CGC grader. How are you going to do this to me? Like you're going to give me a 9.8, but then you're going to just off white to white. Like just at that point, just give me the white pages, I guess that's actually a lot of these books have off-white to white. This one does. This one does. So quite a few of them, I guess.
I mean, I think it's probably about 5-1, something like that, from what somewhere in that range.
Yeah. It's kind of a lot. Let's see. Of this list, this is off-white to white. So one white page right there.
1-1.
Two white pages right there. Wow. So only two of them actually had it.
Wow.
Was that out of 10? Was that 5? Yeah. So it'd be 5-1.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. So 10. So 20%. That one doesn't have it. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 out of 20. So, kind of like 40%.
40%. We just dropped under 20
Not
minutes.
that easy to get the white pages on this one. Not that easy.
You can buy an 8.0 X-Men 1 restored right now for $4,600. Oh no, it's got the buyer's premium thing, so 50, 55.
Yeah, the X-Men ones were plentiful in this auction.
That's true for a lot of keys.
Yeah,
it's like
there's always.
I mean, look, yeah, there's 5 X-Men 1s. There were 5 AF-15s, 8 giant size X-Men 1s.
Yeah,
well,
we've gotten
idea
back
how
to
many
that place
ASM
where
129s.
it felt like there weren't that many AF-15s being sold for a little stretch after there were so many, and now it kind of feels like it's ramped up again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, so Virtual Reality Fitness says the Hulk 180 artwork is the most expensive Wolverine collectible. Yeah, I remember seeing that one sell. I'm curious. I don't know. Does the cover for 181 exist? I have no idea if that original art exists. I feel like that would go for more, but I
would think at that point it's safe to assume it does exist somewhere.
Yeah, on the basis of it being a cover, I think for sure, it would command a higher price. But that's kind of the fun thing about original art is the mystique that surrounds it. You think it exists, but no one's really ever seen it. Like, does it exist? And so. I mean, maybe that's a bad example. Maybe people actually do know if it does, but in general, with the art stuff, like you never really know what's out there.
Yeah.
I imagine there were a lot of surprises with that Roger Hill, collection.
And the thing with Roger, he was very open with a lot of the stuff he had. I'm actually wearing the shirt. I'd seen his stuff many times because he was always at that show, and I'm sad to say there's kind of a disconnect between that old original generation of collectors and kind of the generation I'm in. Maybe it's just me. I didn't really feel comfortable hanging out or breaking in with that group in the past, which is sad because I could have been that guy's ear for hours about all this crap that's come to the market that he's had for years. And I mean, I've showed you guys pictures of things I've seen that he's brought. He had an original wood cover from Weird Science at this show last year. It's just unbelievable the things that these. I mean,
what is an original wood cover? I don't know what that is.
Wally Wood original.
Oh, wood cover. I was like, is it made of wood?
No, yeah, Wally Wood.
All right,
it was one of the Weird Science covers. Yeah,
I thought maybe it was something for like pressing it into something or like.
It had the original plate where they but and Roger was far from a super wealthy like rich dude, and there have to be numerous people in the world like him that are just guys who grew up and spent their whole life loving this stuff and accumulating it, and sooner or later things pop up. So I think the next 5 to 10 years, as the torch is handed off from one generation of fandom to another, I think they're going to be really interesting. Just what is going to resurface that has been locked away that, maybe only a few people knew existed. And I think it'll be really interesting to see.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, the Rifleman 10. That's the original wood cover.
Well played.
16 minutes left, guys. Still chance, Drew, to consider it. I mean, I know you've been really mulling this one over.
And here that moment went. Yeah. No, I think I'm good.
I didn't even put it like a fake bid early in on it, like to say I bid.
Didn't want to have that momentary thrill.
At this point, are we even sure?
No, there's no way I would put a bid in now.
Yeah,
I'd be too afraid I'd win it.
Oh yeah.
While we have time here, this one's also coming up. X-Men 94 9.8.
Somebody mentioned it in the chat.
Cole says the Hulk 181 original art was destroyed in a fire in 2009 from a CGC forum post.
Really?
I mean, that's what can happen to these
Hulk
flammable collectibles.
Wow. That's super interesting. Deep cut. Thanks for sharing that. That's crazy.
Yeah. And the guy who kind of taught me a lot of the ropes, taught me how to grade, taught me how to buy collections and stuff is he ran the LCS I worked at for 46 years, 47 years. His one-liner advice anytime somebody would come into the shop asking what they should invest in, he said, invest your money in something that doesn't burn. And that is an excellent example of why.
Good advice. Maybe they insured the cover, and then
I would hope they did,
and they faked the burn. No. It's what if it's
an insurance scam?
Yeah.
Here's your next
white collar comic book crime
movie plot.
So we've got John Castanello says he thinks 150K tops for Giant Size X-Men 1. I mean, that's where I'm feeling right now.
I mean, at this point,
a lot of ground to cover to get there, though.
It definitely feels like at this point,
that's 10 more bids.
Are there? You really have to see, like, are there just two people that are gonna duke it out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. Well, this X-Men 94, what do you guys think about this book? I never understand it as far as, this one. I mean, I understand that if you got to get a copy if you need to finish your X-Men run,
Mm-hmm.
And I know that at one point this was kind of the go-to book over Giant Size X-Men #1. But it just seems like I like the Giant Size X-Men 1 significance and the cover a lot more than this one.
Yeah, poor Gil Kane. Of all the awesome covers he turned in, this was not amongst them. I think
maybe I've said it before here. To me, it looks like the guy's giant mouth, like Storm's cloak. It just looks like a big mouth. Like it doesn't look good to me.
I mean, the thing with this book, especially in 9.8, is just the scarcity. There's only 43 of them on the census. And
harder to get this one.
Yeah, I think that's really the only appeal of X-Men 94 in a 9.8 is just the relative scarcity of it.
Now, for the same price, this book right now, you could have a Wolverine 1 10-0.
Yeah,
that's true.
What would you rather have?
I might rather have the Wolverine 1 10-0.
I might rather keep my $27,000 for something else.
I mean, if it is, if I have the option of keeping my 27,000, I'll take that. But I might rather have the Wolverine 10-0 for 27 grand.
And more exclusive, that's for sure. At least for now.
And there was it was either this last week or the week before, a new 9.8 of this book got added. Which was, like there's not a lot of them. Like you said, 43 or whatever. So.
You really have to assume that any book within Bronze Age and stuff, like I know it's not, hard. They don't grow on trees, but there's gotta be people out there that have raw collections that have easy nuggets, like tons.
And you're getting into that point where collecting was a thing. It wasn't just kids that read comics and kept them. Like there were people that were actively collecting, that's when bags and boards and stuff are, preservation materials of whatever type started to come out, and people made more of a conscious effort to not only keep their comics as nice as they could, but they were going in and actively trying to buy the nicest copy they could get, whether they were buying off the shelf or it shows or whatever.
Yeah. And there's so many old school collectors that are like, never going to send their books to CGC. And I've heard so many people have told me like, oh, I've seen guys with raw collections at like easy AF-15 9/8, and there's just people that are never going to grade them.
Yep. And then their house is burned down.
Yeah, exactly.
Or their family gets them, and then they don't handle them properly, and it's no longer a 9/8. I mean, you never know.
That's true.
Well, yeah. I mean, think about the people who found that Action 1 in the wall. They were tearing down that house. They got so excited they started wrestling over it, and they tore the back cover. And I think at the time they said that tear cost them $75,000 over what would have been the realized price had they kept their heads about them. So I don't know.
Well, here we go, guys. 10-minute mark. It's been a long road to this point.
Stretch, get ready.
I feel like it's again, just to recap a little bit of the preface going into this. I feel like this is the culmination of 2024. Everything that has happened between CGC scandals and 9.9 pre-screens and X-Men 97, and now with Deadpool and Wolverine, and here we go, 9/9s, finishing out the year. And I feel like we should be rooting for a bigger number here. It's kind of like what you said.
That's what I said. I was rooting for a bigger number. Like,
yeah,
I don't care. Like I like seeing big numbers on.
Yeah, I kind of like it too. I mean, I think it's fun. I mean, either way, it sort of becomes a story, right? If the number is really high or really low or whatever it is, but big numbers are cool. It's cool that people are excited. I mean, I know that there's a lot of people that are like, this is a scam and blah, 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 but it's also cool if people are really excited about nice looking copies of comic books, I guess.
And Cosmic Trekker asks, who the hell stores an Action 1 on the wall? It's people used to use newspaper and that kind of stuff for insulation. And so it's like, it was a nothing. It was probably put in there in 1939 or 1940.
Fiberglass insulation didn't exist. Foam insulation didn't exist.
Like our house is pretty old, and I can see the newspaper in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like I always wonder. I'm like, wonder if there's a comic book in there.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe one day just take the sledgehammer.
Our house is like 1942, I think. Something
at some point, I'm going to need you to read me the current events.
You might have like a.
Cap might be an Action 1. Yeah. Cap 1.
Get a nice Tech 66 or something in there.
You could mystery box your house.
Just come in and smash our walls.
Sell it for the price of the Action 1, and then it's just like, hey, it's a mystery box. You don't know, guys.
Old house might have $1 million comic book in the wall.
Or mouse poop. That is more likely what you'll find.
I know what I'm putting my money behind.
Here we are, guys. 100,000. We're going to get into the bidding mind game soon.
Yeah, I feel like we're in the calm before the storm here.
So there was a question about double cover 10. I know there have been double cover 9/9s. It was like, I think there's like an X-Men, or no, an ASM 361, like 7 cover 9/9.
Yes, that thing.
But I don't know about a 10.
Yeah. Rufus asked, if this goes for 100K, would you immediately try flipping it on Heritage? I mean, the problem is that Comic Connect does report the sales, right?
Yeah. So that's always, it's always tough to know. Because I have to imagine most of the people that would be watching this would watch Heritage would know about this sale if they were at all interested in it.
Yeah. What's interesting is I feel like we're at a number where this has to be very appealing to a lot of dealers. Like this is definitely a number where it's like, all the big dealers, out there are like, hey, I'll buy this and I could flip it for 120,
It's like, I'll probably have this before SDCC rolls around. I can sit it on my wall.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or like, is that worth it to just have it as advertising on your wall, basically? Like maybe people that come and see the 9/9, and just like I think you were saying, like that's how that Angry Girlfriend ASM 14 was being used. Like it's basically like
I call it.
They want to sell it because it brings people to their booth.
Yeah, conversation piece.
Yep. I call it a scroll stopper. So I used to like to keep TMNT 1 third prints on my wall, Hansi 1 or Hansi on my wall, because it's the kind of stuff that just snaps people out of their routine of seeing the same shit on everybody's wall. That would definitely be the ultimate or one of the ultimate flex items.
Yeah. Well, we're getting to crunch time here.
Yeah, I'm also watching the 94.98. It's at 2 minutes.
Let's take a look here. 94.98. Yeah, 2 minutes here. 27.5. I don't know what were the last couple sales on these things. That seems probably the price that.
Yeah, I got it up, I think, here. 90-day average 37.2 according to Go Collect.
Yeah, I think the last few sales have been in the 30s. The last two, maybe
37.2, 32.4, both of those this year. So you had a pretty steep fall off. You had one sale in 2023 in November for 46.8.
Yeah, I think the peak was in the 70s.
60. Yeah, okay, here you go. In December of 21, 72.111.
Yeah. Yeah, because I remember that one, because I was just like, I remember when it happened, I was like, holy crap. Like, what was that?
Off-white pages.
Ugh.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. The record holder for a 9.8 giant size X-Men 1 is off-white to white.
Mm-hmm.
Like during that
period, a crazy time. It was a crazy time.
Nobody cared. I always like pointing to that one because people always like be like, oh, it's not white pages. I'm like, hey, record for giant size X-Men 1. I can't say it anymore though. Technically, I guess the record for giant size X-Men 1 is back to a white pager, but it had to be 9.9 to do it.
Yeah. Still no change on the GS1.
Oh, no change here. 4 minutes. You know, this is interesting. I made the video this week talking about how Hall H is coming back. And, you know, I think that the macro economy has more to do with comic values than movie hype. But movie hype is going to play a little factor, of course. But, like, yeah, I do wonder, you know, maybe this is going to be a good buy for somebody. You know, maybe we're going to get some X-Men hype, and there will be greener times in the next couple of years, and maybe somebody will be able to flip this like 3 years down the road for a decent price.
It feels like a good buy at 100. It does.
Yeah, it does.
All right, the 94 officially sold. I don't believe there's a buyer's premium on that, so I think that's Hammer at 27.5.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
27.5. Here we go. 3 minutes left. Now we are in the final countdown. Will any bids come in?
I mean, it's like
time to get the final predictions, guys.
That's right.
SDKA says 112.
It already got a bid. Already got one.
There it is. We got a 105. Okay.
I'm saying 150. I can't imagine it goes this low.
I'm going to play the under. I'm going to go I'll say 140.
140, 150. Okay, I'll do $1. You know, I'll do the
$1, Bob.
$1. Yeah, I'll take the under. I think you guys are right, but for the sake of the conversation, I'll take $1.
I feel like it's just going to go for 105, and we're just going to tick down nothing.
Yeah,
it's just done.
Oh man,
because like there was no bid back. Like
no.
I feel like there would have been like something if someone like there's no point in playing a game right now.
Yeah, two people going to do the draw now. Yeah. Very interesting. 2 minutes here.
Well, good luck to Illuminati's drunk buddy.
Yeah. Important to point out for people's predictions. It is now 5K increments. So it'll do a rounder number, at least for the time being.
Man, it's looking like everybody's going to be high right now.
Yeah.
It's like
there's a lot of
the lowest we're seeing is Derek at 115.
Yeah, a lot of revisionist guesses going on here. The numbers were higher earlier in the stream.
Yeah, I feel like this was not expected. I mean, I really do. Like, I don't think that this is an expected number.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, 9.9 is the new 9.8. So in reality, it should be that by this time next year, it will be 25,000.
But you got to look at it. We're also in a world where the 90-day average is, almost half of the 2022 average. So
Yeah.
Well,
we did get a bid in. We got a bid.
Did.
We did get a bid. We're up to 110.
The clapback's a little slower this time.
Yeah. So this will be interesting. Okay. Maybe there are a couple players now, so we at least know that there's two people in the running now.
You're right. How serious are they? That is the question.
And this one definitely feels like it would have the potential to be that damn book that takes a half hour to end.
Right.
Because we're near the end, the final book that I don't know if
Illuminati's with you on that one. And that's what we mentioned at the beginning. It was like what was the one? The Gus Regan
Tales 11.
The dynamic book.
Stop.
Oh my God.
That was so fun though. We had a hell of a good time that night.
We had a great time, yeah. But this one could drag out. I mean, the 3-minute reset timers, if the people are willing to just wait it out.
New Compass says, I think the bounty on Wolverine Limited 199's really hurt this sale. I mean, I do think this is a far harder 9.9.
Absolutely.
I don't know how many more of these are going to pop up, but it's not like there's a ton of 9.8s of this. What is it? 250 or something? I don't remember what we said. We were looking at it before, but I mean, whatever it is, like if it's in this era, if it's maybe 1 in 100, maybe there's another 1 or 2 that might pop up.
1 in 100 feels generous to me.
Well, 1 in 100 9.8s.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, we did get another bid, so now we're at
145 is the census count.
Okay.
So we're 115.
115.
All right. Well, at least we're on the board. Somebody's guessing a number that might be right.
Yeah, Metal Bum says there's no 2x speed on this video. Yeah, it's like come on.
It's so funny. It's so sad.
120.
Oh yeah, there's a sharp bid back. Now I kind of wonder if there's like multiple people involved. Because I always wonder with like these types of books, like how many bidders are there? Are we talking 3? Are we talking 10?
Need that short box bidding where you can see all the the different names.
Oh yeah. Well, we're starting to.
There's a 0% chance I am putting a bid in on this book. Comics.
Yeah, Ryan said he's not going to bid until it hits 125, so it hasn't hit his reserve yet.
Yeah, what's
assuming that is flip mode. I was like, I feel like they are more in a position to put a bid on this book than I am.
Yeah, You guys have your Bobby Blue credit to go to this one.
1.25.
1.25. So this is interesting because now all of a sudden, this is when you get people like roped in, right? Like now people want to win, and all of a sudden, what could have been a really low sale might recover.
All the rich people just woke up.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got a 9.6 copy that's about to close at 83.77. So still a little light for a 9.6.
What had 9.6s been going for?
Let me pull up the last couple sales. Last sale was in April for 89.37. Bunch of slash bids. One sold for 10,200 at the end of January. But back in December, there was a pretty low sale for 7,200. So a little light, I'd say. Not super light, but
yeah,
there's so many copies. I mean,
what was the
9.9 the superstar?
What was the all-time record for Hulk 181 in a 9.8? Was it 160? Did it get that high?
I thought it was like I don't know if it hit 150. It was at least in the mid 140s. There was like
I've got it up here. Let me check.
I think there was a pedigree copy.
There's a 138 in 2022.
But it might have been Comic Link. It's one of those,
right?
It's gone forever.
Didn't get recorded.
Yeah.
I mean, unless like if it was a really like spectacular sale, they sometimes have. Oh yeah, they do. It's on their front page. So it's 146.
146.
What was that? October 2022.
Okay.
That's a number I would like to see. It's like, can this book beat?
Yeah, and it was a like the Susha, or I don't know how it's pronounced. Susha News.
Yeah. And that actually would have been a confirmation sale, because the one I'm looking at was just a 9.8 white pager on September 8th of 2022 that was at 138.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. We are at the 30-second mark for this book right now.
Oh, dang.
30 seconds left. Whoever is thinking about bidding is cutting it real close.
Right.
Now, the computer just crashed. They're trying to log in on their phone.
Yeah.
Panicking.
Oh, God.
Here we go.
I should do it.
Click the button.
Oh,
30.
You were making me nervous. Just typing it in there, like, you know, you might accidentally hit a button.
I almost trolled myself for internet clout right there, just to, you know, I almost messed up. 130, last second bid.
Yeah.
There we go. That was close.
Staying alive. Well, we are starting to clear the field. There are very few books left. We've got the 2 Young Allies 2s, a couple zips. The 8.0 GS1 just sold. It was the last one that was still alive, other than the 9.9.
Yeah.
So yeah, this auction is about to come to a close.
Yeah, this could be the one that goes all the way or runs out the clock.
Yeah, I always wonder how they ship these types of books. Like once you get up to the $100,000 price point, or like what's like
Bring strut
point where it isn't shipped anymore. You know, where it's like whether someone brings it to you like personally, or like is that a category? Like you cross 500,000 and they drive it to you, or like
I will say someone told me, shared a story with me, who they bought a book that was in the mid to high 6 figures, and it was really funny because they were like, because the person was like, oh, how does the shipping work? And they're like, oh, the shipping is included or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, okay, cool. And then they ended up getting a bill for the Brinks truck shipping.
Oh, damn.
On. And it was like $5,000 shipping bill. And the person was,
fee.
I could have
135,
but then finish out. The person was like, $5,000 shipping bill. Like I would have gone on a flight and picked up the book.
Yeah,
like,
for $500.
You could fly first class round trip, have a nice little
take a little trip to wherever, New York or Dallas or wherever you buy your auction books from, and
oh man,
135. I feel like this is this might climb a little bit. Might have some people in it.
This is when this 3-minute thing. It's just like most of the time I'm okay with it, because usually you're only like a few, and if it's a book that's early on that gets like kind of stuck in this, it's not a big deal. But man, this one being near the end, I just now that it feels like there's probably 3 people bidding, it just kind of feels like there's maybe 3.
This is where this format is probably saving a book like this.
Oh yeah, sudden death. Somebody, I mean, it'd be really crazy, but then you got the 30-minute refresh or 30-second refresh to figure out who actually won and what it sold for.
Like if this were going on Comic Link and all the things were the same, I wouldn't have been surprised if it ended at like 115 or one of those other numbers, But like this 3-minute timer is making people giving people more time to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, we're down to the GS1 and a Zip Comic 6 are the only 2 books that are active.
That Zip Comic 6 is going. Oh, is it a mile? Oh no, it's not. It's just it's just a
9.4
high grade copy.
Yeah.
The person that was going to buy the Zip Comic 6 is thinking like, oh man, I want to use my budget for Zip Comics, but I'm still looking at the giant size. Oh, 140. Guys, we're doing it.
Oh,
We are doing
Yeah,
it.
because Illuminati said his guy was winning at 135.
Right.
Okay.
And so that means it sounds like he was gonna go higher than this.
Yeah.
So
And so someone just came in. So we know that there are definitely, two players still in the game. Very confident.
mm-hmm.
What would be a number that, like, if it sells at 140, I still feel like, oh, it's lower than I would have ever guessed.
Yeah.
To me, I felt like under 200 was going to be.
yeah, I think 10x the 9.8 is at least what I thought it would do.
Which would have been what, around?
Which would have been about 200.
200, 250.
Yeah, I mean, like the off-white to whites are generally going around 18 to 20. The white pages I've seen as high as 30.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like 10x of the lower end, like 200. I don't know. I mean, I hope it doesn't take, like, that's a lot of bids from here. I don't know when it jumps to 10,000.
Yeah,
but it's not soon enough.
Yeah, because there's 145. We're still at 5,000 bid increments to get to 150.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest,
that's what Derek was saying here is, like, they need to do the clapback bids.
Yeah,
but these guys are not doing it.
Let's just get it out of the way here.
So Gordon Sisk's question, at least on, I don't know about Comic Connect, but on Comic Link, if you punch in an extra 0, you are screwed. You cannot undo your bid. You absolutely cannot undo your bid. Now, maybe if you call them or something, but yeah, if you punched in 1.5 million, you're riding that thing up to whoever else is bidding just gives up. Because
the only problem is what you don't want to happen is for 2 people to accidentally put
Oh my God,
0.
yes.
That would be the real doomsday scenario.
Yeah, that would be so bad.
Because if you do it,
Panic calls to Vincent.
Yeah. if you actually put in an extra 0, I guess that just means hey, you're winning the buck.
That's right. Congratulations on your purchase.
Your only prayer is that they do the same. They actually make the same mistake.
Yes.
And I don't remember if there's like a confirm on this one. I haven't. I mean, I bid on them in the last auction, but I haven't bid on anything in this auction. I don't remember if you hit the button if it checks again.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to try on this book. So,
every time
to find out.
This one, Comic Connect and Comic Link, every time I always forget. Yeah, it's like, oh, does it confirm? It always feels like a little loosey goosey, with all this stuff.
Well, because like Heritage, there's no confirm. Like you hit that button and you bid.
Yeah, you're in it.
Comic Link, there is a confirm. You hit the button and you have to that's why you always have to remember to hit it 3 seconds before the end.
Yeah,
so that you have time to click it again.
Right. Oh man. 45 seconds.
Under a minute. I feel like we're going to get another bid.
Oh man, and if it gets 150, that's
I
win nothing, but
Illuminati's Illuminati's guy was 135.
Yeah, that's why I feel like 150 is impossible, because I got the impression it was going to go up above. Like he's the fives. Illuminati's guy.
So he's still winning now on this.
In theory,
In theory.
But he's been silent now. I wonder if he's like, shut up, don't tell me.
Don't talk about it.
Oh, 150 on the 10 second.
We're still at 5K bid increments too. So we're gonna be here for a while.
Yeah, this I mean, I don't know. I was fooled. I thought that was gonna be it.
So what's MHC? It says I heard MHC said 145 was a steal for that book.
Mile High Comics? That Chuck? Who are you talking about, Matt?
I don't know.
We don't get to 10K increments until 200,000. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That is a lot of that is, I mean, if it went at this rate, that's 10 more bids.
Yeah, I agree, Derek. The mind games aren't working. We need the
That's right.
clapbacks. Like let's
Rapid
Yeah, like I
fire.
feel like at some point that works. Like, you know, you just like show them you're serious.
Trade paper dad. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
he was talking about Chuck with Mile High Comics. So
Okay.
of course, you know, I've seen how they price. So
But yeah, and that's the thing. I've also seen I've seen a lot of cases where people will say like I'll bid to this or I'll bid to that.
mhm.
And then when it comes time to bid, they don't do it.
right,
Know?
right.
And
See,
so
my problem is I don't stop when I have that number. It's like I can do one more. I'll do another
Yeah,
one.
you get the tunnel vision. I mean, that's what happens. You'd think with these ones where it's like, how bad do they want it? You know, who are the people that are bidding here? Are they dealers? Are they the ones that are gonna actually hold this book forever?
Oh,
There's
there we go.
155.
All
All
right.
right, all busted.
So it looks like, yeah, this is the last book now.
Oh yeah,
That's probably the way they wanted it. They're probably hoping
I
that.
think so. I think it was all strategic.
I bet they hoped that Wolverine would have gone longer too, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that seemed a little underwhelming, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I thought 50 was like going to be an easy number for that book, and so 27 just feels really low.
Especially when you consider like that it was sitting at 22 and then it only got a couple extra bids. So it kind of like has this feeling like it wasn't even that contested.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, like a 9.9 New Mutants 98 went for like 40 at some point, or 45. Like it's just 20. Like after seeing all these big numbers on a lot of books for like the last week, like not just this auction but the Heritage auction, 27,000 doesn't feel like that much. I mean, like for me it would be a ton of money.
Yeah.
You know, but for like seeing it around these other books, it doesn't feel like a ton of money.
The problem with Wolverine 1 is there's just not enough pouches on the cover to really motivate buyers to spend $35,000-$40,000 for a copy.
What do you mean? I didn't follow that.
Liefeld pouches.
Oh God, yeah.
It's late.
There's no feet. There's no feet on the cover.
When a joke falls that flat, it's best to just let it die.
I also didn't get it, but I was waiting for Ryan to be the one to raise his hand.
I already asked about the wood cover. It doesn't matter anymore.
Oh man.
I'm 160. I think we're going to see this. If this closes at 160, I'm going to put it like this. I think we're going to see this book again.
Oh yeah. It'll be 165.
At least it'll be like somebody will be selling it at a show at like 200, 250.
Yeah.
Something like that.
A show, hell, it'll be on Instagram by 4th of July.
Well, we're getting into almost respectable territory here. You know, when we were sitting at 93, I mean, I think maybe at this rate, 180 is probably where it might go, because maybe it would have doubled where it was sitting at.
Yeah. Yeah, 200 still feels like a hard ceiling at this rate. I mean, I guess we could continue to play the slow game for another 20 minutes and eventually get there, but I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen.
Oh, there's a quick one, 170.
I'm just going to keep talking shit and maybe we'll get there a little quicker.
People changing their estimates in the chat.
Yeah. Yeah. At this rate, it'll be 200K by Sunday.
170.
I think Derek's right. You'll
and
eBay buy it now.
Joe, no, they do not say who the buyer is. I don't know any auction house that tells people who bought the book.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's somebody on Instagram, you'll see it. Like people will post it.
Yeah.
And there are definitely people on Instagram that can put out that kind of money. So
there are, yeah.
And
There's
let's be
a lot
honest.
of anonymity though in a lot of these buyers, more than I would have. I mean, I understand it, but more than I kind of would have thought.
It's like there's two camps and there's very little gray area in between them. There's the people who buy a book like this and they buy it for the flex, they buy it for the gram. Then there's the other group of people who buy it and they don't tell anybody about it. They have all the people that delivered it assassinated, and it disappears. You never see this book again.
Yeah.
Then they put it on their wall and it's stolen during a house party. And
Yeah.
And then they find it 20 years later in a warehouse.
Yeah.
Well, at this price, 170, I didn't mention it, but yeah, this is higher than Hulk 181, the record for Hulk 181. So that's something.
Yeah. So it's not the Bronze Age record, but it's number 2 right now.
Yeah, that was my next question. So Marvel
Mhm.
Spotlight 5 is the record, right? And then I guess this puts this as the second highest bronze book.
Because I don't know offhand what the 181.99 sold for, like however long ago. I don't know if that broke 200 or what that one did.
Well,
I think there was an article about it that I could probably
yeah, because it's not in GPA.
No. Let's see here.
Yeah, let me know if anyone in the chat, if they know. I guess this would be the second.
It was I think it was 100 and it says first 1970s comic book to break the 100,000 barrier, went for 150. So this is about, and that was back in 2011.
Yeah, so this is the second most expensive, next to Marvel Spotlight 5, which I guess has sold 2 times more than this.
Yeah.
Yeah. The highest sale reporting in GPA for Marvel Spotlight.
Sorry to interrupt. Here we go. 15 seconds though.
All right, coming down. 360.
10.
Is what
5.
Oh,
4. 3.
we're gonna do it.
2.
We're gonna let it go.
Boom.
Right.
170. There it is, guys.
Oh man.
$170,000 for the greatest, bestest, most perfectest copy of the second appearance of Wolverine.
and I feel like it might not have been Illuminati's person, because they were on the 5s. They were on the odds. So.
Well, I'd like to say
we did have a third person and it swapped.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember who said 170, but congrats to the person who predicted 170.
But it doesn't count if you just said it.
Yeah, it does not count.
Yeah.
No prize for you.
Let's say, Drew, where are you going to put your new book?
I got nothing. Yeah, no, probably when we make it back here. I mean, we only can put good stuff back here. 170. That's a little light.
Put it under a little table leg, even.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm going back to check to see if anybody actually predicted, the 170. Yeah.
Well, Sith says, man, what a disappointment. Was expecting to go for a lot more. Yeah. What do you think the conversation is going to be with this one? I have a feeling that within the social
night.comics had it at 170.
Late
Night Comics.
Okay, Late Night. I saw. There you go. Congrats, Late Night. You win the prize.
the prize of
the prize
guessing the number right,
and applause.
That comes with no prize.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do think that the conversation in the comic world is going to be that this was low. I mean, like, as a number, it's a big number. So maybe there's going to be people that are like, wow, look at the number. But like, I think
that's how it'll be advertised. Like, by like, there'll be an article probably on CGC. CGC always has been putting those out lately whenever the big book sells. Like, they'll say like, sold for record and gray, or record for this book or whatever. But I do feel like it's disappointing.
And that's just how the game is played. You have a big sale like this, somebody writes an article, then the next time something like this comes up, you refer back to the article and it's just this perpetual motion machine. But I don't think there's any way around The fact that the conversation is going to boil down to disappointment, that the hammer price was underwhelming. Maybe it could even take a more derogatory approach and be like, it was overhyped. It just, I'll be interested to see, because there is kind of that tendency to move towards more of a jaded opinion, not maybe assuming the best of intent in the hobby right now. So I could see that possibly coming out of it. But I also think the fact how condensed all of this 9.9 and 10 action has been, I mean, really just over the course of the last, 3-4 months, I think it's got people a little afraid to really just go all in. I think they came out a little hard with this. Maybe it was just too transparent, or people got too into it. The research of identifying these new things as they came out, because I mean, how many people are Johnny on the spot on these new numbers every week when they come out and they update the census. So I don't know. We're still at the beginning of the story, so it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's there will be that kind of sentiment, but on the flip side too, if you think about it, a 0.1 just created $100,000 out of thin air.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and in reality, created like 150.
Yeah, right. Correct.
Yeah.
So pretty crazy that has that effect just by itself. So
yeah. No, I mean, somebody said can't wait for the videos about this like being the end of the comic market. I'm not making one of those. I mean, I think it was an underwhelming sale, but this type, it's kind of how I feel about all these like really big books. They're their own market,
Yeah, they're their own market for sure. And I think like you said, there will definitely be videos about it. When I make videos about it, I'm always facetious. I'm doing the thing that the people are doing. That's the joke.
Yeah, but you're gonna say it's the end of the market, I imagine. Like your opener.
Sky is falling.
The sky
the video
is
might
falling.
not, the thumbnail will.
It is all over. Well, it is all over, because I think our show is over too. So now we have to go eat dinner. Well, guys, there it is. There it was. Giant Size X-Men #1, 170, 10-0, Wolverine 1 for 27.
Did it deserve that opening, song, with 170?
I think that's the real story, is that the books were overshadowed by the video.
I mean, I'm very excitedly going to play us off with this anthem. So I was just trying to wrap up and get to the point where I hit the button.
Just so you can play that song as soon as possible.
yeah, exactly. Because there's more people in now the chat now. There's more people hanging out, and I feel like they need to watch
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, this video is so good.
Well, thanks guys again for hanging out. Thanks so much for watching. It was a good one. Happy Friday.
Absolutely. Thank
Happy
you, everybody.
hunting. Congrats to the buyer and the seller of Giant Size X-Men 199. See y'all in the next stream.